Good morning. Friday video. It's around 8 a.m. Okay, so I wanted to stop and talk to you guys today. I've been very busy this week. I did not want to leave you hanging. I have several meetings today to help fellow West Virginians, so I'm very excited about that. Need to figure some things out so some folks are able to get back to their new normal, and that's what I do every day, and it's really something that makes me very excited and happy. If I'm able to help somebody else, whether that's in the capacity of a career or a job, or even just my own free will, that is something that I'm always going to choose to do. I believe my passion and my calling is to help folks, so that's why you always find me with an organization, an agency, or a business that does exactly that. So today's video on Because I Said That is going to be about health knowledge versus fun stuff today, but we can make it fun. So today's topic is, why do I need a probiotic? Well, just to explain a little bit about what a probiotic actually is, it is actually good bacteria and yeast formulations that are good for your health. And so when we think of bacteria, we usually think of something negative, but in this instance in the body, there are good and bad bacteria. When those good bacteria are depleted or taken away, it causes the bad bacteria or bad yeast to overgrow in the body, and then we become ill. And so you will find that you have different type of ailments that are produced because the bad bacteria has gotten so out of control. So we will talk about several different things that happen because of that today as the explanation as to why you would need a probiotic. So probiotics are often called good or helpful bacteria, and they stem from the gut. It all starts in the gut. And I could not tell you any more than I already do. I mean, I'm going to try, but I couldn't tell you any more than I already do how important it is to have good gut health, because literally every single ailment and disease that you are going to find is going to stem from the health of your gut. So if you are having different types of ailments, and I really want to save those for a minute later, but if you are having different ailments, you really need to look at what the root cause of those ailments are instead of trying to cover them up. Like, for instance, the post that I posted yesterday about my son, that post was actually him probably about 1.5 years ago, and you could see in the picture how red his skin was, like around his neck and the folds of his arms. He had a patch on his eye. Sometimes the patch would bleed, and then as he got older and his motor skills increased and he learned how to scratch, he would dig in the folds of his arm and behind his legs to the point that they would bleed. They would be itchy, and there would be dry patches, and we tried everything. I mean, absolutely everything. So we would use Cord-Aid, we would use special prescription creams, we'd use salves, we'd use ointments, we would use oatmeal baths, we would use eczema lotion, or eczema, however you want to pronounce it, and we would use baby powder to dry stuff out. I mean, just a wealth of different things. It was just becoming overwhelming and frustrating, and he was still scratching. And the older he got, it was hard to watch him go through that, because he was digging and scratching all the time, and he was so uncomfortable. And when you have a child and you have to watch them be uncomfortable, and you take them to a doctor that you're supposed to be able to trust, and they just want to slap Cord-Aid on something that obviously has a root problem or a root cause, it is very frustrating as a parent. And so sometimes you have to take matters into your own hands. And I'll be honest, I was a little skeptical, because there are certain things that I do for myself in my health regimen that I don't do for Kendrick. But the thing that I really need to think about with that is, if I'm going to put something in my body, if it is not safe enough to put it in Kendrick's body, I shouldn't be taking it either. So with that being said, we started Kendrick on a probiotic, and what I do is it comes in a capsule, and I open the capsule and I pour half the capsule in his soy milk, because he can't have cow's milk, and he drinks it and has no idea that the probiotic's even in there. And 4 days, okay, 4 days. So we've gone through almost 2 years of scratching, digging, bleeding, redness, inflammation, crying, dry patches, crazy creams, ointments, bath regimens, don't take a bath every day situations. We've gone through that for almost 2 years. And so after 4 days of being on a probiotic, the skin is no longer red. It's still dry just because I expected that. His skin is honestly probably dehydrated. He drinks a lot of water, but from all the skin itching and scratching and stuff, it's probably just made it dry. So the dry patches on his elbows, which are always there, have already cleared up. His elbows feel like the rest of his skin. It hasn't felt like that probably since after 2 weeks of being born. And he's no longer digging and scratching. He was scratching a little bit this morning, I'll be honest, but I think that's probably just his skin healing. And he's used to scratching, so that's just his thing. It's ingrained in his mind that, oh, I scratch all the time. And so we gave him this probiotic, and I've seen a vast difference already in 4 days. So I really can't wait to see what this is like in a month, and to see this actually cleared up for him. I'm not going to sit here and tell you, because I'm not a healthcare professional, that probiotics are the end-all be-all and that they'll heal everything. I'm not going to tell you that, but I'm going to tell you that if you try them, and I'm going to tell you some reasons why you should take them, I think you'll be very surprised as to what probiotics can do for you. Even in my own situation, I had situations with IBS and my stomach was horrible. Every morning I would wake up and have to go to the bathroom before I'd go to work. Some days it would be so awful. I'd be sitting in there, and this is gross, but I would be sweating and cramping, and I would just feel horrible, and I wouldn't want to go anywhere. I would just want to lay down in the bed, and I didn't have a choice because I had to go to work. And so I started on a probiotic and a magnesium supplement, and I have felt much better. I don't have that situation anymore. Yes, I do have to watch what I eat, and not because I watch it because I'm trying to be all diet fad and don't eat anything and starve myself. When I say I watch what I eat, I mean that if I'm going to take these good quality supplements and put them in my body, I'm going to want to also add to that situation clean eating and exercising. You're going to want to add that to any healthcare regimen that you're using and doing. So anyway, some of the reasons that probiotics are needed. So I'm going to read a list off to you. Antibiotic use. Okay, pretty much every American, period, anywhere, overuses antibiotics because MDs, PAs, all of them, they prescribe antibiotics for just about anything. So if you've got strep, you've got some type of bacterial infection, they're going to give you an antibiotic. Well, here's the no-brainer, and you would think that people understand this, but sometimes they don't. An antibiotic and a probiotic are actually the opposite of one another. So if I take an antibiotic, it is going to essentially take all of the bacteria, not just the bad bacteria. Not just the bad bacteria. It's going to take the bad and the good and remove them all so that they can get rid of the infection that you have. Okay, money. Yes, cramps are awful. When we take those antibiotics and we remove all of that, you need to restore that. I'm not saying that you need to go around sick and not take an antibiotic, but you're going to need to restore your gut health and the bacteria in your body after you remove all of that. So you can use a probiotic to do that. The other thing is food poisoning. If you've ever received a meal somewhere and you go home and within 4 to 8 hours you're deathly ill because you've gotten food poisoning, I have had that happen. It is awful. That's also a reason you could use antibiotics. Your body's depleted, your gut is depleted of the good bacteria because you've been sick, you've been dehydrated, you've probably been puking, you've probably had diarrhea. And so this can actually ease the symptoms that you have of food poisoning and make you feel a lot better quicker. Digestive disturbances. So this would be the IBS category, or the cramping, or having to go to the bathroom, or feeling like you just ate Taco Bell 27 times every morning and have to go to the bathroom. But probiotics can help with that. Skin conditions. This could range anywhere from eczema to rashes to boils to, I've done some research, and it's actually because a friend called me last night and asked about boils, or like the little pimple-like things that you get like on your back, or the bikini line or the groin area. Those, I'm going to tell you what those are. Anytime you have inflammation of the skin and you have some type of rash or skin condition, 9 times out of 10, unless there is some other issue going on with your body, it's because you have toxins in the body that are trying to escape. You have an overload of them. It's kind of like you have a bucket. The bucket is full and now the water is gushing out of the bucket. Well, that's what's happening to your body. Your body is so full of toxins that it's gushing out and it's trying to make its way out in any way that it can. So that's acne, rashes, hives. I used to get hives all the time. Hives, boils, anything like that. So keep that in mind. Probiotics can really help with that situation too. I did some research last night just for my own good and my own benefit, medical journals to talk about that. And that is actually something that can be prescribed for that situation. Mood disorders. When you have hormone and mood imbalances, probiotics goes back to gut health. Gut health is what makes those hormones and those moods out of order. So if you are able to regulate the gut health, guess what happens? I'm not little Miss PMS anymore, or PMDD. That is something that I discussed when I first started doing live videos. And I wholeheartedly believe that balancing my blood sugar and getting my gut health under control has desperately helped the PMDD. I do not want to punch holes through walls anymore every time it's time for my menstrual cycle or my period. And so that is a blessing for me, because that is something I've dealt with since a young age, and having this crazy mood swing and being like not able to function because you have this thing happening to you and you don't understand why it's happening is very, very frustrating. So to be able to have a product that is consumable that allows me to be able to combat that is a wonderful, wonderful thing. It's a blessing, and I thank God for that blessing. Weak immunity starts in the gut. If you're getting sick all the time, balance the gut health. Get rid of having the common cold and the sinus infections, and every time the weather and the seasons change, you end up with sinusitis. Guess what that is? An inflammation of your sinus. Again, take away the inflammation. Balance the gut health. Take away the inflammation. I promise it's a hand-in-hand situation. Asthma and allergies. You will find that if you balance that gut health, you're not going to have the same type of allergies that you had. I had a serious allergy to citric acid, and let me explain to you how irritating that is. Pretty much everything we eat has some type of form, whether or not it's synthetic or pure, citric acid in it. So if I would eat ketchup at lunchtime and then tomato sauce on or marinara sauce on my spaghetti at night, I would end up breaking out in hives everywhere because of the citric acid. So gut health, again, has changed that for me. Autism. There are new studies out there and research that has been done that shows that, again, not a healing, but probiotics for autistic children can really, really change the mood and the sensory motor issues. And that just means that they decrease. It doesn't mean that they completely go away. But if you're struggling with that and you're a new parent to autism and you're a new parent to having to deal with that, and you're really just kind of at your wit's end and you don't know what to do, try a probiotic. Seriously, try a probiotic. I'm not trying to be funny. I do not have an autistic child, but I have lots of friends that do, and I'm not sure what their regimen is. And I'm sure that they have tried lots of things, just like I did with Kendrick and his eczema. And I would just like to say that a probiotic really might help. And it really might help your child to feel a little bit better in their own skin. Are we going to remove all of the issues that come with autism spectrum disorder? Probably not. It's going to be a few years until we get to that point. But a probiotic may be able to help them with some of the things that they're going through. So I encourage you to try that. And last but not least, yeast infections. And please, men, do not think that that only happens to women, because it doesn't. And no, that doesn't mean you have to be sexually active with a female that has a yeast infection to get one. You can get a yeast infection in the folds of your genitalia. You can also get a yeast infection in the folds of your skin. There are many different situations for that. And it's actually candida overgrowth is what's going to happen with that. A probiotic is actually going to limit the ability for that yeast to grow, and then you will find that you will not have an overgrowth anymore, because it will either be balanced to the normal level, because you should have some, to the normal level that it should be, and then you will find that you don't have that situation anymore. So probiotics do very good things. Prime example, and I explained this to a friend yesterday, is if you were to take the probiotic that I use, ProBio 5, you would have to eat 21 containers of yogurt in one sitting to get the benefits that you get from ProBio 5. And I'm going to be honest, I don't like yogurt that much. I don't even really like dairy products. So who in the world wants to sit around eating 21 buckets of yogurt? I don't. I'd rather just take my capsule and move on. I take it at nighttime before I go to bed and let it work while I'm sleeping. And like my skin, look how my skin is doing. I mean, it's just really, 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 truly made a vast difference in my life and my family's life. So I encourage you today to do some research on probiotics and try one. Get you a good one. I can give you one, ProBio 5. So just research that see what it can do for you and see if it can change your life and your family's life. I believe it can. So to me, that is why it's important for you to have a probiotic. That's why you need one. Everyone needs a probiotic, because if you're just eating the natural American diet, you're not getting what you need, and there's no way to combat those issues without a probiotic. We have so much junk in our food, especially processed food, that it really doesn't help to balance gut health whatsoever. Can you do it with food? Yes, but to be honest, we're all in a world of convenience, and we don't have time to sit down and chop and cook and bake and boil and do all this stuff for our foods and our natural teas and all this stuff. We don't have time for that. None of us have time for that. And so you have to make an investment in your health and choose to essentially make the choice to be better about what you're doing with your body. And so make that investment. Health is an investment, and sometimes it may seem expensive. I said that the other day. My wallet is there's definitely a dent in my wallet by choosing to shop organic or, health products and supplements. But look at what it's done for me. I'd rather spend $125 on supplements and have my body functioning the way it should than spend $125 on Starbucks, or spend $125 on Pepsi, or spend $125 on junk food. I would much rather omit those things. And I'll be honest, when I quit smoking, that gave me enough money to buy my supplements, because I was spending $250 a month on cigarettes, and now I spend $125 on supplements. So I'm actually putting $125 in my pocket. So hey, hit me up if you need a probiotic. I got you. And I hope you guys have a fabulous Friday, and you have a great weekend, and you are just able to soar and spread your wings and fly today and reach all your goals. So have a great Friday, and I'll see you guys next week. Love you.